Noni Hoefner.
Das Deutsche Institut für Provokative Therapie.
I'd like to ask you, what is the provocative style all about?
Well, could you phrase it a little more global? Provocative. What is it all about? You mean a short draft, just to say some words that describe it in a short way?
Yeah.
People don't have so much time. Okay. Well, if you treat clients or coachees or whatever people you consult provocatively, you enter their world. You make a cartoon, a caricature out of the parts of their view of the world where they are stuck, and you laugh with them about these stuck states. You don't laugh about the client, you laugh with the client about his stuck states. That's a very important distinction, because you don't laugh at people. You laugh with them.
Yeah.
And it's in a caring way. That means you really appreciate the person the way he or she is, and you can see the resources, but you don't tell them you are strong and you can do it and it's so wonderful what you will achieve. In the contrary, the provocation is that you make the client feel. It's not a mental decision, a decision in your brain. It's make him feel, I've got to change something in my life, to have a better life. And you provoke him in drawing out all the fears and the restrictions he or she has. Every client fears something. He says, when I do something different, something horrible will happen. And so but when I do what I do, something horrible also happens. So you make you lampoon, you make a caricature also out of these fears the client have, and tell him, for example, you can change anyhow, you are too old, you are too dumb, you are not interesting enough for others, and all that kind of stuff, which also has a little bit of truth in it, but you don't believe what you say. That's very important.
So incongruent message.
Incongruent message. You talk about things you suppose, you think maybe the client might think in that direction.
Does such lampooning help people break their blockades?
Yeah.
Like the barriers they put around themselves?
Yes, because the resistance, the client develops a resistance against the things I say, and the resistance doesn't go towards the therapist or the consultant, it goes towards his own stuck states. So the client wants to get out of this, he resists, he says, he feels, it's more a feeling than a thinking, he feels to change something in his life. And that's the important part, because this feeling makes him go.
So we are going for emotions, not for reasonable understanding.
Exactly. The emotions are much more important than the reasonable understanding, because many people, you tell them you should do such and such, you should do this and that, and they say, yes, you're right, but they don't do it, because it's only a mental process. But if you make them feel, hey, I've got to do that, then they tend to do it. It works much easier instead of trying to convince somebody to do something. You convince him not to change. You say, no, don't do it. It's too dangerous. And you drag out all his fears and say, if you do it, no, that's not for you. It's for other people maybe who are more courageous and more intelligent than you, for example. But don't do it. So they resist and say, let's see if I can do it. I mean,
so to make people move, they must be moved, not just understand it would be good to do something.
Insight and understanding never has changed anything. It's only, insight is very valuable when it's combined with feelings. And when you work provocatively, you touch the feelings immediately, you get to the feelings. And the clients act very spontaneously. They don't think so much. They don't have a report that they give you and say, well, I thought about this and maybe it was from my mother. There is no emotional loading in it. So when you provoke them, the emotion is immediately there, and then they wow, no. When you say you're worthless, you're just nothing, because they think they are, then they say, that's not true, I can do this, I can do that. But when clients come and say, I'm so worthless, I cannot do anything, and you tell them, no, you are precious and you have all the resources in you, then they tend to name all the stuff they cannot do. But if you tell them you can't do anything, you're just a loser, I mean, you're a failure on two legs, then they start naming everything they can do. They say, no, it's partly true, but this is not true, and that is
Name three.
Name three, yes.
Well, is it only therapy, or is it also coaching?
It's very good in coaching. Of course, in coaching we have to do it a little differently. I mean, you provoke people, but you have to be careful not to be too crazy in the beginning, because then they think, what coach is this? I mean, I wanted to solve a business problem, and what is he or she talking about? But very soon, if you do a good pacing for, let's say, 10 minutes or so, or maybe even shorter, and if you have the conviction, the totally 100% conviction, this people is worthwhile and he or she can do it, then you can talk about all the things they think they cannot do. This is it's kind of a mental loop for the therapist or the consultant or the coach. To me, there is no basic difference between therapy and coaching. Most coaches say, oh, I'm no therapist, so don't touch this. You always have to deal with blocks in your thinking, blocks in your feeling, blocks in your behavior. And the goal is, when you do provocative therapy or provocative style, we say provocative style because you can combine it with so many other ways of communicating in coaching, in therapy. If you do this provocative style, the goal is to make people find their own solutions and start doing it, make them move.
So the same as in modern ways of therapy.
Yes, and but the difference to other ways of therapy is the big part that humor has in provocative therapy, because the laughter is so important to relax the client. The clients that are stuck, they think there's no other way, or all the other ways are horrible, and to get them out of their stuck state, it's the best way to make them laugh about themselves. If you laugh about yourself, you win.
Create the distance from the blocks.
Yeah, it's the essential distance to change something into your life. Otherwise, you can't.
I see. Who is supposed to learn and use provocative style in their work?
Everybody. What do you mean?
Everybody. It means priests, politicians,
oh, why not?
Policemen.
Yes, I mean it's a very good way to have a relaxed communication when you use this, because the principle is get into the world of the other person, find out where it's stuck. Even if it's not a client or a coachee, you can, when a communication gets to an end, because people, they are stuck in a way, and you are the third person, the consultant, whatever, or you are part of this, it's always good to see it from outside and to see the absurd parts in it, to draw them out and to laugh about it. Not to laugh about the other people, but to laugh about
to make them laugh about their own problems.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And this frees them a lot.
I have heard that provocative style is a very efficient way of creating good relationships between, with other sex, effectively. It means
you
instantly.
Mean to use it to seduce a woman? Yeah. Of course, it's great. I mean, if you are totally on the side of the other one. If you seduce a woman by provocative style, you use humor, and you know that women love men that are humorous, but you don't laugh at them, you laugh with them, and that's what women love. So if you want to seduce a woman, the best way is to treat her provocatively in this loving, caring, understanding way, and you're totally on her